demo on how to run RASP software, how to test run it, and later in other videos I will explain maybe how to configure a website, and we'll try to cover other topics. So let me start with requirements. So basically you will need Linux to run RASP software. Any modern Linux is fine, Ubuntu, um, Red Hat, whatever. And also Docker is required to run because I created a Docker container, which makes life much easier. It makes running RASP software very easy, and it can be done on any platform. It will basically run the container with all required dependencies and no other configuration required. So my computer is pretty powerful. I have 8 cores. It's Intel Core i7 3.5 gigahertz, and I have 32 gigs of RAM. Not everything is required for RASP. You can actually, in fact, you can run RASP on a laptop in a VM maybe, but it's going to be very slow. So if you want to run RASP every day, you probably want a good machine, or run it on cloud service like Google Cloud. I might cover it in other videos. Okay, Docker is installed on this machine. This is pretty much everything is required to run the RASP. And I'm not covering how to install Docker. Maybe it comes with Linux. Maybe it comes with Google Cloud Image. They usually have it. They usually provide it. So I assume it's installed. So explain this, and it's actually pretty simple. The only thing, you can actually run it like this, and you see there's nothing happening, but I have other images like Hollister, for example. If I run it like this, it will actually start running, start modeling. So this can be changed later if you want. So for example, let me start running a very simple model, very simple region, Panoche. This is a sample region. So I run it. I should run it. So you can run it with this option: run -it. Actually, like, make the fonts larger. Run it, the Docker image, and bash. So it will run bash inside this container, and it's regular bash with regular commands. There's not much installed here, just essentials to run RASPs and maybe debug them. So in order to run Panoche region, you need to cd into RASP directory, and this is pretty much standard RASP installation directory structure. I would say RASP GM directory structure. Now, so in order to start running, you just need to type run Panoche send it into background, and it will start running. And if you look into Pinoch logs GM printout, it will say that it started working. And this is actually kind of top level log file. You want to check the status of the run by looking into this file first. So what it does, it runs series of operations. First, it will download grip files from National Weather Service, and I'm not going to go into much details here. I'm not an expert in this, to be honest. But things to but what you should look at is that these files are not available right away. They are produced at certain times, and this is what it says. For example, this file. So this is initialization time 0Z. There are 4 initialization times: 0, 6, 12, and 18 throughout the day, and these are forecast times. And this file is available at 01:48 Zulu time, and you can check your Zulu time by saying date minus U, basically, and it will show your Zulu time. It's saying now it's 2:39 Zulu time, and this file is already available. And this last file is available at 1:59, which has already passed. So this is good. So all these files should be available now. And this is part of your of the region configuration. It's configured in the RASP region parameters file. I will cover this in the configuration video. Okay, so it's running. So first it downloads the files, and once it downloads it will prepare them, run a series of other operations like ungrip, netgrip, and stuff like that. And finally it says Pinoch module run begins, and we just need to wait. So on my machine it takes about 10-15 minutes to process the file, process the region. So you could compare it with your machine, for example. On laptop, it's going to be slower because laptops are not usually built for performance. Yeah, well, check it out. Okay, so it is right now, but the it will produce results of its run under Pinoch directory. So these are, for example, file. What you actually will need is inside out directory. Currently, there is nothing available inside this directory because it's once it completes, it will populate this directory with PNG and data files which are relevant to this run. And you can mount this directory to your computer. For example, this is what I've done before. Um, this is how I ran it before. Docker run. Uh, I showed you that I'm using IT -IT, and I put actually Yavalok, Dr. Jack 3 name here and bash, but also you can mount internal directories to your computer. So for example, in this command, I mount internal root RASP Pinoch out directory this directory to my temp directory out. And if this directory does not exist, it will create it. And the same, I'm also mounting log directory, because once you exit the Docker container, everything inside will be lost. So you want to save at least out directory and log directory for debugging purposes. And you can mount pretty much any directory to save whatever you want on your machine. And other options are --rm. It makes this Docker, it will delete this Docker after you exit the container. It will delete the container. For example, I have a whole bunch of containers here which are not running. For example, this one, I exited it 3 months ago. You just don't want this container files flying around because they're consuming hard disk space. You just want to delete them as soon as you exit them, as soon as they're done. Okay, let's see if it has finished or not. Okay, so Panoch model run begins at 2:38 and plot starts at 2:43, and finally it finishes at 2:44. So it's about 6 minutes, 5-6 minutes, and it's good for uh, testing your hardware, for example, whether uh, your hardware is good for running RASP forecasts or not, by comparing these numbers with me, for example. Okay, and yeah, so this is successful run, and okay. I don't know what does it mean unprocessed times. It just ignore that. It looks successful to me. Okay. Now let's look under Pinoch and the out directory, and now you have these PNG and data files, which are required for your website. Now I haven't mounted this Docker container to my local disk, so I will have to extract these files from this Docker container, and I'm just going to demonstrate this Docker. So I'm going to use tar to zip all those files into a single file. Tar, create file, Put it into temporary directory, out tar. And I'm gonna zip everything under out. This is it. So it will create alt tar. It's not zipped archive. I mean, it's not compressed archive, so it might look pretty large. In this case, it looks it takes 24 megabytes, but it's good for our purpose. On the host machine, you just need to run docker cp your target container temp, or you can use this name, positive Proskuriako, I don't know who's that. To me. And alt tar, and you need to specify destination. Now it's on your host machine. You can actually cd into this directory and now just say tar xf out. Complaining about I don't know what's complaining about, but seems like it's good. You can actually open your file manager, navigate to this directory and read files. This is what I get. So this is the first part on how to run Pinoch region. And in the next video, I will show how to set up a website to display those images overlaid over Google Maps.